Yo, welcome to another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K Sap. Today, man, we got a very interesting show for you guys. But when you come across the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you share it out, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, make sure you got your post notifications on so you'll know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Like I said on this channel, we cover sports, roundtable talk, hot topics, the Marriage Chronicles. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I see everybody in the comments section, hashtag salute. And you know what my mantra is? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Might not be for you, might be for them. But let's get right off into it. The NBA season is up and coming, and we know that the Memphis Grizzlies star Ja Morant is serving a 25-game suspension on his off-court allegations. You know, he's been in the news, had an 18-month whirlwind events leading up to the trouble that he's landed himself in. It starts way before that. Coming out of Murray State, Ja Morant was a real subtle kid. Never got into no trouble or anything like that. Sources from Murray State said he was a well-mannered, well-spoken individual, stayed out of trouble. He didn't drink or anything like that. Now, leading up to draft night, the Memphis Grizzlies selected Ja Morant number 2 overall, and there was no red flags. So they took a chance on Ja Morant. Talented, skilled. He was a YouTube sensation at Murray State, which, that's where he really, flourished, through his YouTube videos, and he got recognition. He wasn't highly recruited going into college, and he made a name for himself, and he put himself on the map. He got the attention that he deserved, and he made his way into the NBA, the second overall pick. And, his playing time with Memphis, he has elevated each year, rookie of the year, elevating, each year his game has progressed. And one thing about Ja Morant, everybody knows his track record since he's been with Memphis. It all started, I know you guys been watching, the incident. He went Instagram live on a plane with the tequila bottles and some expensive tequila bottles, but we know Ja Morant got the money to do that. He's clutching it, holding it like a machine gun and things like that. And a lot of people were saying that Ja Morant basically a fake thug. But you can't question if that man's a fake thug or a real thug. But some of his antics showed that, you could say that in a sense. His homeboy Devontae Pack, he went live again in a vehicle. And Devontae Pack, his homeboy, was putting the camera on him. And Ja Morant brandished a handgun that got him into trouble. The Denver nightclub got him into trouble. But the Memphis Grizzlies kind of really swept this up under the rug. Their sources around the Memphis Grizzlies camp knew that this was coming. But, Memphis as a team gave Ja Morant a slap on the wrist, and he let it escalate. He had 4 incidents involving a handgun. And when he got caught the first time, the team suspended. He was away from the team. He said he went down to rehab, and a lot of people said when he went down to rehab, that rehab was too short. He had to go down there and, get a hold of himself. But now there's articles out there that ESPN has produced that has made the Memphis Grizzlies kind of upset, talking about, let's just leave this alone. We know Ja's taking all the strides. He's been out of the news ever since, the incidents has happened. He's serving his suspension. So, when he's away from the team, he hasn't been back in the news, but ESPN is writing these reports. Now, let's take it a step back. Now, you go back to the incident with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers when Shannon Sharp was involved. And also, Ja Morant's daddy got involved, T. Morant. And a lot of people were saying, as a father, yeah, that's your child, but be a daddy first. Don't be one of his homeboys. And a lot of people took exception to that because it's a fine line when you're speaking on somebody's child and they their father. You got to really tread thin water when you say stuff like that. So there was reports out there that T. Morant was basically the cause of Ja Morant's actions. And this is what Stephen A. Smith said a while ago. So this is the problem that we have right now. There was a report out there saying that a Grizzlies team source attributes some of Ja Morant's behavior over the last 18 months to T. Morant. T has been a major driving force in all of this. He never made the NBA, but this was his chance to live like he's an NBA superstar. That's been a problem from the beginning. And then this is what Stephen A. Smith said. You raised him, you helped him get to this point. Make sure that you don't let anybody get in the way of what he is on the verge of accomplishing. Make sure you do your part to protect him instead of joining him in the good time like you is one of his boys. You are not one of his boys. You are his dad. And that came from Stephen A. Smith. Now, do y'all remember when that incident, like I said, went down with the Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies and Shannon Sharpe was involved? Now, the next day on Undisputed, Shannon got a lot of backlash. But in that backlash, Shannon was saying, hey, his father, wants to run around like he's part of the group and, egging this stuff on. And you noticeably see T. Morant courtside at all Ja Morant's games, always have a drink in his hand. There's reports out there that after games, Ja Morant would have a sprinter waiting for the family and friends, and they would go out to local bars and be drinking. And team sources say that Ja would come to practice, half drunk. You know what I'm saying? You could smell the alcohol on his breath. So that's a person that goes from not drinking to now he's drinking. And majority of this was egged on by his daddy. That's what reports are saying. So I'm going to read you guys an article from Yahoo Sports that Yahoo Sports wrote. And y'all listen to this into its entirety. Ja Morant's father, T. Morant, called driving force of his misconduct by Memphis Grizzlies team source. Ja Morant is one of the most exciting players in the NBA, but over the last year, his name has been tied to several controversial stories due to the actions. A Memphis Grizzlies team source reportedly called his father, T. Morant, the driving force of his misconduct. Baxter Holmes and Tim McMahon, writers for ESPN, published a lengthy story chronicling the last 18 months of the NBA star point guard's career. Prior to being drafted by the Grizzlies, one of the NBA scouts described Morant as devoid of anything that could hint at possible red flags. He was the consummate, coachable teammate, a choir boy, the scout said. Under-recruited, didn't have many scholarship offers, played with a chip on his shoulder, glowingly stuff, nothing. There was absolutely nothing. 4 seasons later, Morant has earned 2020 Rookie of the Year, 2022 Most Improved Player, 2-time All-Star appearances, and led the Grizzlies to multiple playoff appearances. Simultaneously, his father became more of a presence and personality while on the sidelines. A source for the Grizzlies believed that T is living vicariously through his son and that his behavior is a factor in Ja Morant's behavior. T has been a major driving force in all of this, the source said. He never made the NBA, but this was his chance to live like an NBA superstar that's been a problem from the beginning. T. Morant was infamously involved in a scuffle with ESPN's Shannon Sharpe back in January. Sharpe and former Grizzly player Dylan Brooks were going back and forth in a war of words before T. Ja Morant and Steven Adams all got involved. The First Take co-host eventually turned his attention to T and yelled, "I bet you won't," when it appeared he wanted to come to blows. The 23-year-old point guard was suspended for 25 games for this upcoming 23-24 season after his second gun-related incident. In May, he was seen in Instagram Live flashing a pistol while driving around with his friend. The video circulated on the internet rapidly, especially given previous gun incident in March. Similar to the May situation, Morant flashed a gun while in a strip club in Denver. He attended a counseling program in Florida before returning to the team, and there was concerns about his alcohol consumption. Wow. So basically, basically, people are pinpointing and putting this on T. Morant. That's why his son is out of control the way he is. And a lot of people have said it, but you got to be very careful of what you say about somebody's son as being a father. But, in the totality of it, I hope Ja Morant comes back, stays out of trouble, keeps his nose clean, because he's a hell of a talent on the basketball court. He's must-see TV. And I just hope he can get it together and stay out of trouble. And I think, his father got to learn from this. But his father said, all his antics was chosen by his own. Nothing that the daddy had to do with it. So you guys let me know what y'all feel like in the comments. Leave a comment. I see everybody in the comments section. Like I said, #salute. And, keep, supporting the channel. Keep sharing it out. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
Another one.